everybody. Welcome back to the Next Level podcast with Dr. Leslie. I am your host, of course, Dr. Leslie. We have an amazing next guest for our Wealth and Riches series that I am doing. So last week we had Marvin, Old Man Marv, who gave us some really great insights about wealth and really what that means outside of being rich and having financial abundance. And there were some really great tidbits he gave us too, just about how people may want to go about rebuilding their life after they have failed, if you will, or rather had a learning experience that maybe didn't end up how they preferred. Now, today, we have a really exciting guest too. I'm always so excited about my guest, Tim Zimmerman. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
So Tim is the CEO and founder of SM3success.com, and we're going to talk a lot about his program and some of the main training and expertise that he has, which is like a lengthy list. I have them here, literally. So to get a little bit into his background, he is a New York Times best-selling author, 40 years in sales, marketing, management, mindset control, and development. Mindset control. Yes, we're going to talk about that. Maybe not controlling other people's minds. Maybe we'll see what we can squeeze out of Tim, but definitely controlling our own minds. 25-year realtor training and mortgage banking expert. Experience and expert, award-winning multi-million-dollar producer, executive producer and host of reality TV show for 5 years, Parade of Homes TV, with 300 plus 1 hour episodes. He's an expert in meditation, one-pointed concentration, and more. So he's got a huge toolkit of resources that I wanted to share with you listeners. Again, this platform is about self-mastery and life hacks in the body, mind, and your inner connections so that you can really step into your best life. It's about authenticity, fulfillment, passion, wealth, abundance, really living in new ways. We're paving new pathways of how to exist and be in this world. This is a time of major, major awakening to who we are, our power, our potential, and it's just exploding. It's really going exponential. And, this little mini series about mastering wealth and mastering finances is, again, we want these resources. We want to be able to integrate this really important aspect so that we can have, everything. We want everything. We don't want to just be spiritual and intellectual and live our passions. We want to do it abundantly where we have the resources we can give and contribute outside ourselves. So this, having Tim on the show talking about mind control in relation to how it can create abundance for you is like right on par. So get ready, folks. Buckle up. We've got a good show. So Tim, I'm going to just jump right in. When we were talking on the phone, as we were prepping for this, we were talking a little bit about positive mental attitude in terms of relating to humans and mind control and the subconscious and the unconscious mind and how all of this sort of interplays with how we live in life and how we flow or don't flow. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to just really first start talking a little bit about the unconscious and subconscious and what the difference is, because this is the crux to your program, right? Is tapping into that. But I want to hear what your sort of definition and the difference between these two are, so our listeners kind of know your approach.
Okay. Well, the unconscious mind is the part of the mind that we're not conscious of. Okay. The subconscious mind is the part of the mind that we're kind of conscious of, like in dreaming and different states of awareness and, falling asleep, going into alpha theta meditation. We're kind of conscious of that. The conscious mind is really the ego. So what I found in my research is that, and I don't know if you knew it, but as a baby, when a baby is growing in the womb, the brain grows to 25%, okay? And that's a direct download from the mother, from the cerebellum of the mother to the cerebellum of the baby, because that's what grows first. That's total unconscious.
So when you mean a download, what does that mean?
Are you familiar with the reptilian brain, the
Yes, of
cerebellum, the reptilian brain?
Sure.
That's all the instincts.
Mhm.
Okay, I believe that part of the mother's brain downloads directly to the fetus, because that's what grows first. So all of the instincts, the ability to be able to live and, protect yourself, and when the hairs go up in the back of your head and everything like that, that's the cerebellum at work. That's the fight and flight. Okay, that's the reptilian brain. So when the baby's born, from birth to 2 years old, the brain grows to about 70% of total. And then at 5 years old, it's at 90%. So the 2 years to 5 years, that's the subconscious mind. Okay, that's 90% of your total brain capacity is in by the time you're 5. Some people say 6, maybe 7, but that's your unconscious and subconscious. And then from 5 to 18, that's when the rest of the brain grows, which is 10%. And that's your ego. That's where you figure out what your place in the world is. You have judgments, self-judgments. I'm not good enough, not smart enough, not beautiful or handsome enough. Unlovable comes into that, and you try to deal with those self-judgments, but how that affects you and the world and your place in the world. Okay, so they say, and I think we all know that, if you have an emotion coming from the unconscious and you want to do something consciously, if the emotion is stronger than what you want to do consciously, which one wins?
The one that's stronger. So
Right, the unconscious.
Right.
Your unconscious, subconscious wins every time. So when I grew up, so I'm 66, I'll just say that. So when I grew up, in my household, came from a family of 9, 3 older brothers, 2 older sisters, 2 younger brothers, and a younger sister. We came up in an alcoholic family. My father was an alcoholic. So there was all this infighting, criticism, ridicule, all the yelling, screaming, so on and so forth. I have peripheral vision because, I used to dodge shoes and books and, stuff like that. So when you grow up in that type of environment, your self-confidence is lacking, right? You feel not good enough, not smart enough, not beautiful or handsome enough, and that you're unlovable, okay? So what happens is that the ego acts the opposite of that to try and get over those feelings. So, for instance, if you felt not smart enough, how would your ego overcome that?
It would become hyper controlling and want to achieve everything to prove itself that
Right,
it's enough.
that they are smart enough.
Yeah.
That's where the lawyers come from.
Right.
They can argue both sides of an argument and win both sides, right? But when you do that, you still, if you win the argument or win the chase, right? Conquest, all of that, you still don't feel good enough. Why? Or smart enough. Why? Because your ego, because of that experience that made you feel that way. So back in the old paradigm was you'd get training to try and overcome these things, right? But it doesn't work. So you keep on striving and striving and striving. That's the multi-billionaires. They need more money. There was an article, I think it was in Inc. magazine, that surveyed like 100 multimillionaires and asked what was the one thing that they wanted to accomplish. Well, guess what it was?
Wanting to prove something to someone.
They wanted another 20 million in the bank. And I'm sure that when they got that, they would want another 20 million.
That's what they said? They just wanted more money?
Yeah.
Oh, very superficial.
Right.
I thought they might have been a little bit
Right,
more
but
self-aware. Nope, I guess not.
But they're striving to do more, be more, have more. And that's what all of us did. So the old paradigm, when I grew up, did the Dale Carnegie courses, Zig Ziglar, Brian Proctor, Tommy Hopkins, Les Brown, Dale Carnegie courses. I was trained to teach all 5 of the Dale Carnegie courses. In my striving to be more, have more, do more, right? But when you do that, you gain a lot, but then what happens? The rug gets pulled out. Someone screws you over. Someone does whatever, and those patterns start. So you try to overcome it again, try to do like what I did was go into the meditation, self, mind control, all of that type of thing. And in doing that, what I was trying to do was overcome the negative self-judgments. But you don't overcome them.
Right. It's just sort of coping with them, masking.
Right.
Okay.
So your audience would be going through this like all of us do. But the key is, and this is what I found, back in 2012, this discovery, inspiration happened where I developed what I call the Mastermind cleanse protocol, which when you do it, you actually get into the root cause of your trials and tribulations and remove them and then plant the polar opposite positive.
So let's jump right into that, because I know people are like itching to find out how can I just be rid of this bullshit already, because we go there so much with our minds. We go there so much, like you said, the old paradigm. So what is your approach on being able to get to that root, that subconscious, unconscious part of ourselves, and like bring it up? What's your technique?
Well, the modality is an advanced tapping modality. So if you're familiar with tapping, tapping is part of energy psychology. It actually uses what I use is a system of 13 chakras that we tap on to access our unconscious and subconscious mind. And while doing that, I do a guided tapping session where we go through the common things that would be common to most of us that we go through in life. Worry, fear, anxiety, hopelessness, helplessness, rage at our mother, rage at our father, rage at our siblings, different rage at business associates, from the very beginning. There could be experiences, dramas, traumas, what I call traps and triggers, where something happens and it triggers you, but it's not this person that did it. It's what happened to you when you were 5 or 7 or 12 or whatever the case may be.
What would be some of the instances for people that are struggling financially? Like, what are some of those traumas or fears or limitations?
one of the big fears, which also correlates to lower back pain, which is interesting. The metaphysical reason for lower back pain is fear of money in the future.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't have any back pain. That's a good sign, right?
But a lot of people do have back pain.
Yeah, they do. And as a medical professional, that's like one of the top 3 things people go in to a clinic for is back pain.
Right. And it's just like with cancer, the metaphysical reason for cancer is long-held resentment towards others. And how do you get resentment? Well, typically it comes from childhood, where you start resenting someone.
Yes.
Typically a parental figure, a sibling or whatever, you resent them for doing whatever they did to you when you were 5.
Right.
So until we go back to that instance and remove that, it stays with you the rest of your life.
Wow. So tapping, yes, I've heard of tapping. There was a brief period of time where I experimented with tapping.
Right. In many cases, it doesn't work for people. And, well, the advanced way that we do it works for everyone.
Okay.
To the extent where I guarantee results.
So tell us a little bit about what the traditional tapping that isn't effective and what the difference might be for
Right. As a matter of fact, when I first was introduced to tapping, I rejected it. And the reason being is because I felt that they didn't know how to work with the subconscious mind. Okay. Because when they do, and All of it's great. Let me just say.
Right. We're not.
Everyone's great.
We're not calling anyone out.
Right. It's just they don't know how to talk to the subconscious mind. For instance, when I first was it was given to me or shown to me, what they do is they tap on your liver meridian, right, your karate chop point. And I'm not going to tap on it while I say this. So they tap on it and say, even though I'm mucked up, let's say, right? I have this problem. Right? Even though I'm mucked up, I love and accept myself. Okay. Well, if you're accessing your unconscious and subconscious mind, what is that telling us?
It still made a mistake.
No, it's okay that you're mucked up.
But isn't the language that I mucked up, I mean, a negative thing? Won't that?
Right. Would you rather it be okay that you mucked up, or you want to get rid of the mucked upness?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't even use mucked up at all. I would just
but they use
it.
Mm-hmm. Or there's, where can I put those?
That's there. Yeah, it's good.
One of the other, there's well-known coaches and trainers that start tapping on different meridians, and they say, this anger, or this anger, this anger, this anger, which supposedly dissipates the anger. What I do, how I proceed with it, is to release and let go of the anger. You don't want to put the anger in your unconscious, subconscious. Right. You want to release and let it go.
Yeah.
Right. So the whole protocol goes through the 13 meridians, goes through specific verbiage. Some people think it's affirmations, but what we're doing is we're removing the root causes of anger, fear, worry, anxiety, hopelessness, helplessness, the root causes of traumas and dramas. They say 80% of women have had some sexual abuse at some point in time. Most all of us have had at least verbal abuse from time to time, especially when we're young. Well, someone yells at us and tells us what to do. Does that cause resentment? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Sure. And what causes cancer?
Resentment.
Long-held resentment. Right. And that's the metaphysical reasons for it. You can actually look it up. Louise Hay is one of the best known writers in regards to it. She wrote the book Heal Yourself, which was affirmations about overcoming the metaphysical reasons. But she didn't have this protocol where we get rid of the root cause first, and then we add the affirmation, which then plants the positive.
Right, and that's one thing that I found, like with the program or the remap process that I developed. It's affirmations. I don't really utilize that per se as a strategy because it's really it's a permission slip. There's other ways, but you really do have to get rid of the underlying. I'm the same way. I have the same belief system. The root has to be gone. Otherwise, you're just going to be affirming all day long. And again, you can do that. And as soon as you have a bad mood or a girl's on her period or PMSing, sorry, yes, it does happen. Yep. Some girls,
I wouldn't say that.
I can say that because I'm a girl. All the hate mail can come to me. But I mean, it does. That there's a lot of dysfunctional women that have unfortunate PMS symptoms that affect their mood. People with mental health concerns too. I mean, how can you possibly control your thoughts when you don't have full functioning of your brain? But as soon as you get knocked off, then your affirmations are done, and then you can slip back into, square one. So I love this approach of getting, to the root cause and eliminating it. So.
And we even go deeper than that. I have another protocol that even goes deeper than that.
Deeper than the root?
Yeah. Deeper than the root in this life.
Oh, okay.
So I have another protocol that's called the Quantum Soul Mind Cleanse.
Okay. That
we clean all of the negatives from your complete soul consciousness.
Yeah.
Which is deep.
Right. So for all of you out there who are very past life
Well, that you're a soul and that you've had past lives,
Right.
past lives, previous lives, and even future lives.
Right.
We actually clear all of that, all of the negatives from all of that.
Yeah, and that's amazing. So just for some of the listeners too that have a little bit of a different perspective on past lives or not, some of my listeners have a concept that all lives are existing simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you believe in consecutive lives or multidimensional, same time frame, whatever, because the construct of time is sort of elusive. You can clear them all out. Any of the traumas, anything
so
that you
quantum physics, says that everything's happening all together at once.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, in many cases, when we remove negatives from, let's say, a current consciousness, but things keep happening, in many cases that's from past lives. Could be ancestral curses. It could be a number of different things. So within 3 hours, we actually remove all potential negatives. We find out what the negatives are, or if there are negatives, and then I remove them. So within 3 hours, the soul consciousness is clear of any and all negatives.
3 hours.
3 hours.
Wow. No breaks.
No breaks. I mean, we every once in a while we take a pee break, but
okay, that's important.
But
so are they in like a meditative state, or you take them through different like brain wave states, or
actually,
conscious states?
no. This is a new. People who call it a technology. I call it a protocol, where we use an inner thing that I do to remove it, but I have the client on the line. Typically, we're on a 3-way call. Client on the line with a third party, what I call a truth tester, applied kinesiologist, muscle tester. And through that muscle tester, I ask questions of her about the client. So within universal consciousness, we get answers. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I go in, I do a process within myself to actually clear it. And then we confirm that it's been cleared 100%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you're using the quantum mechanics, the interconnectivity that everything is one energy field.
Right.
To basically you facilitate a healing, if you will. I don't know if that's the right language you would want to use, but you're facilitating someone to clear their consciousness through your ability.
Yes. And I call it removing. Okay. And we increase and accelerate all aspects of person's life. So increase and accelerate income, finances. We ask if we can, and then if we can, I do. So I'm facilitating God and the Holy Spirit, if you will.
Yeah. Sure.
So in all aspects of life, relationships, happy and harmonious relationships, all aspects of their life, finances, business, so on and so forth.
That's amazing. Okay, so since we're talking about the finances today, what are some of the results that your clients have gotten after you've done these 3-hour clearings in terms of your abundance? And
typically, they've gone stratosphere as far as business goes. I've done a lot of work with realtors. Many of the top realtors in town are clients of mine. One client increased his income by $365,000 in 6 months, just by what I did.
wow.
And again, it's not me personally, but what I facilitated.
Sure.
So, I mean, that's incredible. Like with the realtors, I mean, they're increasing sales year after year after year, going from 50 sales to 100 sales to 300 sales,
Wow.
that type of thing. So basically it works, and we know that it works.
That's awesome. What about those more, so with professionals, right, that have, access? I mean, realtors, there's a limitless amount of homes, right?
Right. And other individuals, let's say someone's going through a hard time.
Yes.
We overcome their negatives, and all of a sudden their life
Opens up.
and they start getting
The opportunity shows
their
up, and
potentiality start coming in, and they do more, have more, be more, right? But it's within the harmony of universal consciousness.
yeah,
Because if you don't have any negatives from the past, and you don't have any stumbling blocks in the future, what's going to happen?
you'll be in full alignment, and you'll just create.
Right. And then it's a matter of what you do. Within the program, I have 3 phases within the program, but phase 1 is removing all of the negatives from your consciousness, right? Current consciousness and soul consciousness. Then phase 2 is, okay, well, all of this is cleared. What do you want to do? Really, what's your purpose?
Yes.
Right? Figure that out. And then we use the Dale Carnegie type stuff, the planning, organizing, delegating, controlling, creative thinking, time management, stress reduction, all of those types of things to start whatever you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then phase 3 is to put that together in a movie, right? What I call a mind map movie. And then I teach them, we go into alpha theta thinking, meditation, and we play that movie while they're in that meditation. And that's the most powerful way to influence your unconscious, subconscious.
Is meditating in those.
Right, and the movie is seeing your life the way that you want it, with affirmations, pictures, all of that type of thing.
And so are you playing some like binaural beats or something, or how do you facilitate them get into that?
It's an actual movie. Create a movie.
You actually create a movie.
Right. 15 minutes to 30 minutes. Based on what you want to have happen.
Oh.
Right? With the affirmations of what you want to have happen.
Okay.
And you're watching it in alpha theta. Okay, alpha theta is direct access to your unconscious, subconscious. So you're watching that movie while in alpha theta. And then as you do that, especially because the negatives have been removed, right? What happens? It's more likely that those things will happen.
Right.
Right. If it's part of it is meant to be, but.
Right. And that's the important thing too, is that we always want people to be authentic. You get more flow and alignment and more greater manifestation when you're choosing something that's alignment with your soul or your purpose or whatever. So I really like that in your second step, you're helping people actually connect with that, because you don't want to make just a bunch of billionaires for the sake of being billionaires and they're not contributing or living their purpose.
Right. Well, people don't, as far as a person's purpose, your purpose isn't to become a millionaire, typically. Your purpose is to help people in a way that's unique to yourself, right? And when you hook into that, then everything happens. It just happens.
Yeah, my sort of refined definition of purpose of life is to become more and more of who we are, which is gods experiencing themselves in human form. So as we go through life, we learn more about ourselves, we expand, we become more and more. And of course, through that, we're contributing, we're experiencing, we're sharing love, we're being inspired, we're doing good, we're doing good, we're doing good. So part of how we want to experience that might require money, might a lot or a little, but we all have that imprint.
We're still living in a 3D universe right now. So all of that is part of it. And that's why it's important to have the basics. Most people don't know that they are a soul, right, with a mind and a body to use to benefit themselves and the world. Mm-hmm. Some people think they have a soul, right? So knowing that you are a soul is completely different. If you are a divine, ever-living soul, then you can't be killed, right? Whatever's supposed to happen in this 3D, who cares? The worst that can happen is what? You get killed, right? You die, but your soul goes on, right? To another level, another experience, another learning lesson, whatever the case may be. So if that's the case, then what are you afraid of?
You shouldn't be afraid of anything.
You shouldn't be, but you are. Why are you? Because you got beat when you were a kid, or beat up. Like me, I got beat up all the time, from my brothers and my sister's friends and so on and so forth. So when those things happen, those things stay with you until you get rid of them. The Mastermind Cleanse protocol gets rid of it. And the Quantum Soul Mind Cleanse, which is neat.
Yeah, that's great. So I want to go back to the alpha theta state. Do you train your clients to get into those states of consciousness, or you facilitate that through like an audio, or is it imprinted in the movie, like through sound or something?
I teach them how to go into meditation, basically.
Okay.
So it's a form of self-hypnotism, which you do it yourself. So you don't have to be afraid of somebody.
Right. Like every time someone says a word, you're going to like squawk like a chicken.
The old Jedi mind trick. The Jedi mind trick.
Yeah. Okay. So,
so I teach basically how I train people. So I'm a trainer. So that's how I was brought up in the Dale Carnegie courses. I was trained to be able to transfer my knowledge to other people, which is having them be able to use it, basically. Okay. So in doing that, what am I doing? I'm giving them independence. So they don't depend. I don't want them to depend on me.
Right.
Right.
I've said those words many, many times. That's why I don't really do coaching. I'm like, I don't want people to want or need me long term. I want to teach you how to do it, and then you go on with your life.
Right.
So it's brilliant. Yeah, it's good.
So that's in doing the movie, there's steps to get there, because people are trying to do the movies. There's places out there that you can do that, and they watch them, before they go to sleep, and then they wonder why it doesn't work. Just like affirmations, why don't affirmations work? Well, because you have all of the stuff that's holding you back. The worry, fear, anxiety, hopelessness, helplessness, shame, guilt, different traumas. There's both men and women have gone through traumas enacted by men, and they're afraid of men, or they're afraid of authority figures, right? Well, how can you do your purpose if you're afraid of everyone? Could be women, could be men, mostly men, I would say. So what do you do when you're in that spot? Basically, you call me.
Yeah.
And if I can help you, I'll help you. If I can't, then I'll show you the way someplace else. But typically this Mastermind Cleanse protocol, it helps everyone. We're getting great results from it, enough to say that the work works and I guarantee results. So if people work with me, I will actually guarantee results in writing. So,
wow.
Which nobody else does.
Nobody else does. I don't think I've ever heard of that, actually. So we talked about the 3-hour sort of immersive experience. Is there any aftercare or post things people need to do?
I do much more than I get paid for.
Okay. You're on the calls all the time with clients.
As far as follow-ups, making sure people are doing the work. The Mastermind video itself is a 25-minute video, and there's actually 17 minutes of the doing part of following along with me doing the tapping. And if what I say to people, to clients, is if they do that video twice a day, every day for a month, it'll transform their life. And we're finding that to be true.
Wow. How long have you had this program out?
It actually came through Spirit through me in 2012.
Okay.
I used it on myself. I overcame 14 years of a high-level chronic pain due to 2 car accidents and 8 surgeries in 8 years. They call them failed surgeries. I was up to 300 milligrams of morphine, of oxy, a day.
Wow.
Plus 4 350 Percocet, 4 350 Somas, but 4 10/325 Percocet a day, plus Xanax, sleep meds, and wake meds.
Oh my God. That reminds me of when I was working in psych. That's what so many patients were on, so many pain meds and psych meds and anti-anxieties.
Right.
Wow, that's a lot.
So this protocol came through me. I used it on myself for 3 days. After 3 days, I was totally out of pain. Went back to my doctor, said, "Doctor, I'm out of pain. I want to get off all of these drugs." She said, "We don't do detox here." So I figured he didn't believe me, right? And he was probably thinking, well, let's see what happens in 30 days. But I found a doc, went through detox. They thought it would take 2 years. It took 5 months because I was totally out of pain.
How did you know you were out of pain even though you were still, I'm assuming you're still taking pain meds, or you're just slowly not feeling the pain, and so you just you're kind of weaning off, or?
I was totally out of pain. So the going through the process, especially with OxyContin, you have to go through a process of withdrawal, getting off of it.
Yes.
Right? And again, they thought it would take 2 years. It only took 5 months.
Okay. Wow.
And you do that so you don't have a heart attack.
Right, of course.
Like
yeah, I mean, the withdrawal is huge. So you were just noticing in between your doses, you just were like,
I was totally out of pain.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, totally out of pain. I was at a 4 to 7 level pain. I don't know if many people don't understand pain, and when I say that, they don't really know what I mean. But when you're in excruciating pain, a level 7 pain, where, I mean, it is bothersome.
Yeah.
And even with the meds that I was on, I was still going through those levels of pain.
Wow. That's an amazing story.
Where they were talking to me, the next step was going to fentanyl.
Right. Oof. Wow.
Which, again, thanks be to God and the Holy Spirit that everything happened the way it did. But I took what happened with me and then used that with my success students. And again, they went stratosphere.
Yeah.
Because they were letting go of everything that was holding them back. Worry, fear, anxiety, hopelessness, helplessness, feeling that they weren't good enough, they weren't smart enough, all of that, being put down, having guilt or shame, something happened to them. Many of my clients have been raped at an early age. To be able to overcome that in a quick period of time, really. In many cases, if I do it custom, it's like one session, and they're totally over it.
So a lot of these materials are not necessarily one-on-one with you. They can just get them from your website? Or?
No, typically I like people to call me.
Okay.
I'm more of a boutique, I guess.
Yeah,
where,
nice.
I have, relationships with every one of my clients. So, and typically, even though I have a good website, I don't have a lot of people buying like the Mastermind cleanse. Typically, they want to talk to me, make sure that it works. My website has a number of testimonial videos on it, and I get more and more every day.
That's great. Well, I'm obviously very curious about working with it for myself because I want to go stratosphere. Do you want to go stratosphere?
I really do.
Yeah, let's go stratosphere. So I'm definitely going to have to get that program for myself. The Mastermind cleanse is what you're saying.
Yeah, right. And we can talk about that later.
Yeah. So we were talked a little bit too about 2 exercises, like 2 free exercises that people could do to maybe start getting them loosening up some of this garbage and debris in their subconscious, unconscious minds.
Well, actually, what you're talking about is the Watch Your Thoughts exercise.
Yes.
So the Watch Your Thoughts exercise comes in 3 parts. Where should I be looking? 3 parts. There's a TV over here that I keep on looking at. So you guys, I know I should be looking at you, but I look over here.
It's so distracting. So many fun things in here, I know.
Right. So the Watch Your Thoughts exercise is a beginning exercise that I give everyone, and it's profound. So I'll give you the exercise. You want to do the exercise?
I want to do it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. You promise you're going to do. It's not something that we do here. It's something.
Oh,
that
darn! I was getting all excited. I'm like, yeah. Put me in the state. I'll do it.
Right.
Did you see how eager I am? Okay.
I would have been excited too.
Right.
All right, fine. I will do it at home later.
Okay. So the Watch Your Thoughts exercise is this. You ever see sticky notes?
Yes.
Okay. So you take like 30 sticky notes and you write the words, watch your thoughts on them, and you put them up around your household. Okay, so on the refrigerator, in the refrigerator, above the sink, on the cupboard, above the toilet paper, in the shower, out the shower, in a door, out a door, on your phone if you can, on your computer if you can, in your computer station, on your in your car. Just put it up in the left-hand corner. Refrain from putting it on your speedometer. I don't want people to get in trouble. And I say that for a specific reason, which I can't get into.
Okay. There's a good story there.
There is. So anyway, you put them up all over the place. And that's to remind yourself to watch your thoughts. Now, when you were a kid, you ever lay down in the grass and look at clouds and they look like different things, like a puppy or a horse or...
I still do that. What do you mean a kid?
Right.
I still do it. I did it this weekend.
Right. Most people say that. So what you do when you see the sticky note, you actually take a second and just watch your thoughts, like clouds in your sky. Right? So you have no emotional input to the thoughts.
You're teaching presence. You're teaching people to be present and observing.
Awareness. Some people say that that's the purpose of it, but that's not the purpose of it. Okay. Some people call me, so you're going to do this for 1 week. At the end of the week, you call me and I give you part 2 of the Watch Your Thoughts exercise, and it's all free. And then there's a part 3, and I'll give that to you for free too. So again, it's a profound reason to do part 1, but it's even more profound in part 2.
Okay, well, I'm doing that.
Yeah. And I have a sheet that I can give you if you want it.
Yeah. So in this, how long do you take when you see the sticky note to just sort of observe or watch the thoughts?
Just for a few seconds. Just observe what you're thinking. So it's like your thoughts are the clouds, and you're you. So you're just observing what you're thinking. And it's profound.
Is there a particular way because some people are visual, some people are more feeling, some people, can do color. Like, is there a particular way that you help people to observe, or everyone just kind of naturally knows how to observe their thought?
Observe. Just watch what you're thinking. Some people say, oh, yeah, and then you have the rubber band, and when you're thinking negative thoughts, you flick the rubber band. And no, that's not the reason for it. And again, typically halfway in, people call me and say, Tim, this is why I'm doing this. And I'm like, keep going. Call me when you're done.
So we don't get to know why or how this is effective until exercise 3.
Well, it's effective. Everyone says it's profound.
Wow, okay.
That does it. Some people don't do it, and then I won't work with them. Because how easy is it to watch your thoughts?
For a couple seconds.
Right. It's an easy thing to do. And some people will reject it for whatever reason, which is their ego, and then I won't work with them because they're uncoachable.
Right. They're not ready.
Right.
So, do they have to make note of anything or report back, or it's just the process?
They can, but if there's a consistent negative thought, they can write that down, but that's not the purpose of it.
Okay. He's not cracking, folks. You're not.
I do not crack.
He will not crack. You got to do the exercise and then call him. I'm doing it. So, that's really great. Okay, I love that. And so we won't know about the second and the third part until we do this first exercise. You're going to keep that closed. Exactly.
And again, it's all free. It's great. People love it. Again, part 2 is even more profound than part 1, but you can't get to part 2 unless you do part 1.
Right. We have to be ready. It's funny because I just started watching Star Wars for the first time. And when Yoda was telling Luke that he wasn't ready, he was untrainable. and it reminds me so much of this. Like, actually, the Star Wars is actually pretty profound in terms of like the Force and like I mean, it was
Do or do not do.
yes,
There is no try.
that's right. Exactly. It's so funny because I used to say that to my kids when they were like young too. I'm like, no, you're not going to try. You're just going to do it, or you're not going to do it. I was a little mini quoting Yoda, even though I had never seen the Star Wars. But there's so much truth in that, and so it reminds me of that. You have to be ready to be, trainable and to use this the right way. Otherwise, it's a waste of your time and energy and your talent, and the person's gonna have a bad experience and just
Yeah, and then
not change.
they're a pain in the ass and
No one wants that.
complaining, about whatever, instead of just doing,
Right.
whatever, the things that I suggest are suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't make people do anything, but if you do what I suggest, you're going to go farther,
Right.
when it really comes down to it.
Right. Okay, and so people can access your products, services through the sm3success.com. Is that the best place? Or just call you?
It's better to call me. I mean, you can look at the website. There's many video testimonials on the website. I go through what the program entails and that type of stuff. I prefer calls. It's just like texting. When I get to the third text, I'm like, frickin' call me. Or I call the other person. It's
Right.
because you get so much more done. Instead of being interrupted, every 2 minutes or 30 seconds or whatever, let's just talk about it, get it done in a minute or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to get to know the client and what challenges they have. Now, what's interesting about the Mastermind cleanse and doing custom mind cleanses for people that have gone through traumas is that they don't have to tell me what the trauma is.
Okay.
Okay. So, for instance, I had one client. I can say his name because he did a video testimonial in regards to this. His name is Richard Lee, one of the top real estate professionals. Okay. One of the most influential men in real estate. Okay. And he's a friend of mine. So when I first developed this, I said, Richard, I'd like to teach you my protocol. Is there something from your past that still bothers you? He said, yeah, something bothers me for the last 28 years, bothers me every day for the last 28 years. Like, okay, so you can tell me what it is or not. It'll work either way. What do you want to do? He goes, I don't want to tell you. I go, okay. So we go through the protocol. 20 minutes later, 25 minutes later, I look at him and go, Richard, go back to the thing that bothered you and see if it still bothers you. And he goes, what do you mean? Like, well, we just did the protocol to overcome something that bothered you for 28 years. It bothers you every day. You didn't tell me what it was. Go back to it and see if it still bothers you. And he goes, what do you mean? And he's a friend of mine. So I'm like, Richard, go back to the shit that bothered you and see if it still bothers you. It doesn't matter to me. I just need to know where we are in the process. And he goes, what are you talking about? It was completely gone.
Erased. Wow.
Completely gone. And that was back in 2013, I think it was. And I saw him a few years later and asked him again. He goes, I have no idea.
Really?
It's gone.
So is it common for people that have no recollection?
I would say it's more common where whatever it is was neutralized. In other words, it doesn't bother them like it bothered them before. And that's what I normally get with, sorry, these headsets are a little sweaty. Like with abuses, individuals who have been abused, even sexually abused. One gal that I worked with was sexually abused from age 5 to 12, almost every day from her biological father.
Oh, my God.
And we were able to remove that within 2 hours.
Wow.
Completely.
Yeah.
Where she had no emotion in regards to it.
It's really amazing. And I completely believe in your methodology and or at least the possibility. I haven't done your tapping, so I can't say that I but for me, there were so many traumas that I had in various ways, past life, if you will, even though now I believe not so much past life. I understand it more on a continual, all at the same time process, but I had my own wild and weird experiences seeing and experiencing traumas that are happening as if they're happening now when I started releasing them, like seeing them
Okay.
appear right in front of me, like
Yeah.
being beheaded and being burned at the stake, all these weird things, visual, like in front of me when I went through, I don't know how much you know about my experience, when I was indicted and I ended up finding my attorney who actually ended up saving me from ending, a prior attorney who wanted me to go away for 5 years. So it was like I released when I was, in a sense, saved in this life, all of these others kind of reconciled in that root pain and trauma
Right.
resolved. It's very crazy. Like it sounds so wild. It was my lived experience. Was it real or fake or what is it? I don't know. It was just my experience and I share it, and whatever meaning it has, it doesn't really have any meaning. It's just, it happened. But I have done so much of my own inner work at a root cause. I've used so many different modalities like light language and meditation and affirmations and chakra clearings and audios with all these different things to like decongest. And, these are all just permission slips for us to come into our wholeness. But we have these experiences because we came here to have these experiences and learn and understand ourselves as like these quantum beings. And so like, I completely support people understanding themselves from an energy, quantum mechanics, spiritual, if you want to go down that road, knowing that you can completely neutralize completely these traumas and live in a completely different way. Like
Right.
we can be transformed, we can change, we can, and people like need a modality. If this resonates with you guys, do it because it can happen. I did it for myself in my own, ways, and you can heal. Everyone can heal or release or overcome.
Right. The big difference between what I do with the quantum soul mind cleanse got developed through one of my clients back in 2019 when I realized she was a muscle tester. So she was asking questions of me, why does this keep coming up? And she was working with, one of the first things was having fear of money in the future. And we had done so much other work. What came up, apparently from spirit, was check and see if it's coming from the future. So she did the muscle testing, asking universal consciousness if it was coming from the future, and the answer was yes. And then I said, well, what future life? And she said her fourth future life. And she was seeing one of the individuals that I work with. She was going to see him within the next couple of days. I said, see if he can remove it. She went to see him, and he removed it. Then she called 3 days later and said, Tim, why am I feeling the fear of physical harm still? One of the things that we worked with. Said, well, see if it's coming from the future. And it was coming from her 11th future life. And then I said, ask and see if we can use the Mastermind cleanse protocol to remove it. And the answer was yes. So I used the Mastermind cleanse protocol, removed it. Then she called a few days later. Her name's Becky, 74-year-old. Cute as pie, grandma, right? And I'm like, Becky, why are you calling me? You know what I'm gonna say, right? She goes, yeah, but why am I having fear of harm in my spiritual life still? And I'm like, what do you think I'm going to say? See if it's coming from the future. And it wasn't. It was for her 14th future life. We started doing the Mastermind cleanse protocol, got halfway through it, and she said, Tim, I can't do this anymore. I'm just so, I lack energy. I feel like I have to go to sleep, so on and so forth. And I said, well, ask and see if I can do it for you. And the answer was yes. And that's when Quantum Soul Mind Cleanse was born.
Interesting.
So now we have 10 pages of questions that goes through every conceivable negative that a soul could have. And then, well, there's a page for increasing, accelerating everything. One of them's custom questions. So things like what you went through, ancestral curses, personal curses, satanic, things from past lives, Luciferian, voodoo, all aspects are covered. And we ask, are there negatives in regards to it? I'm getting goosebumps.
What does that mean?
That means spirit is coming through.
Okay.
So when I say that to you, if you're a client, then you know what that means. So we ask those questions. Is there negatives in regards to these areas? Actually, we used to ask, are there, and then how many? And we started getting astronomical numbers, big numbers. I mean, like gazillions and numbers from different clients. And so we went to percentages. What percent clear is the client? And if it's 70%, then can the 30% be removed altogether at once? Typically, the answer is yes. Sometimes it's no. Sometimes it has to do in layers. And then I ask how it needs to be removed. I get told what to do, and then I go into an internal process to do it.
Wow.
And then we confirm that it's been 100% removed. Sometimes we can't, which frustrates me when that happens. Sometimes we get to 98%, and for whatever reason, the client can't handle the 2% removal of the other 2%. But normally we get to 100%.
Right.
So like I tell people, in different aspects, let's say happy and harmonious relationships, right? What percent clear are you to have happy and harmonious relationships with individuals? We can do individuals, right? Or we can do everyone. And this is throughout the Akashic Record, and the Akashic Record list throughout all time and space and so on and so forth.
Right.
I have a whole paragraph that I read in regards to that. So it's like everything: universal consciousness, God consciousness, Christ consciousness, cosmic consciousness, universal consciousness, so on and so forth. What percent clear? Let's say you're 1% clear. Do you want the other 99% to be clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. And hurry up about it, right?
Right. It's more the abundance. Yeah. Everything else is good. And let's get the abundance acceleration going.
Right.
That's
right. And, in that regard, I clear people to receiving.
Yeah.
I used to do receiving a certain amount of money per month. And now it's instantaneous, as if I already have.
Yeah.
Because let's say, you won the lottery, when are you going to get the money?
Right.
When you get the money, it's instantaneous. It's in the here and now.
That's right.
Right? Where people always are thinking, I will be prosperous or will be wealthy or whatever.
I am, right?
Right, because the will never comes, because that's future tense. Right? So you have to do the I am abundantly prosperous in the here and now.
What about I create? Because create isn't a now too, or you
I don't.
You don't use that.
Well,
I have.
That would be affirmations. So when we go through the increase and acceleration aspect, it's a question: how much can we increase and accelerate finances? How much can we increase and accelerate happy and harmonious relationships with whomever or with everyone? Right? We typically do both. So I have a custom page for people. It's like individuals that are having problems with someone who keeps bugging them, right? Especially women, right? We cut the ties: hooks, hold, cords, ties, attachments.
Right.
So, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, not see you later. Bye-bye, you're gone.
You're gone. Erased. Right. Yeah.
Right. So we do that because those things can affect relationships, right?
Right.
Because if all of a sudden you're sleeping and somebody comes into your mind that you don't want there, right? and they might not know what they're doing, but that's more of a mind control of controlling other people that some people know how to do.
It's like a telepathic thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're deliberately putting their mind,
right, and
themselves in your
and
mind.
it might not be, they might not know what they're doing, but they might be thinking of someone because they still love that person, right? But they can't be with them. Now, one of the things which brings up one of the custom mind cleanses that I put together is called the Love Bubble Buster.
Busting people's love bubble. Okay.
Yeah. So, for instance, let's say, we all fall in love, during our lives. And let's say there's someone that you can't get out of your mind, but you can't be with them, right? They're married, they have kids, they're in Australia or, wherever. You can't be with them, right? And it's bugging you because they're on your mind constantly. Well, this Love Bubble Buster actually breaks that bond.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, which
so many people need to be liberated from that.
I developed that because I needed it for myself. And then I used it for clients, especially clients that have a narcissist in their life.
Does it work on twin flames?
Works for everything.
Perfect. So those of you out there who believe you're in a twin flame relationship, this can help with you guys.
Especially if it's negative.
Yes, right.
Now, in the Quantum Soul Mind Cleanse, we actually, for specific individuals, we go through, we ask the question, what % clear is these people, Charlie and the client, right? Of any and all hooks, holds, cords, ties, traps, and attachments. And again, that's through the Akashic Record list and the whole paragraph.
Right. Okay.
And if there are any, or if someone's only 70% clear, then I clear it to 100%.
Yeah. Great.
And they go bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Awesome. And so what happened here before we have to wrap up? What happened when you were feeling you said you felt spirit coming into you through your legs?
Yeah, I get goosebumps when that happens.
And so what is the experience like? Like, did spirit come all the way into you? Like, what happened there?
Well, I get goosebumps. It's a full body goosebump.
So you kind of like end up channeling type of thing, or
No,
you just feel?
No, but it's, I say it's better than an orgasm, so.
Very nice. It's like a bliss, a feeling of bliss
it's a full body goosebump.
Yeah.
And normally I show, if I'm with a client, I'll show them.
Yeah.
And it's like.
And so, what meaning is that when you feel the goosebumps?
That spirit is telling the truth of it, or showing the truth of it. Okay. That's what I get, and I love getting them.
Oh, so. I love that too. This is so great. Thank you so much. We could keep going. Like I didn't even get a chance to do the list. We did an hour and 4 minutes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Just like that. My goodness.
Okay. So you have to have me back.
I have to have you back. Absolutely. We'll dive more into this because there's more of these, the brainwave. So as you know, and everyone else knows, or maybe you don't know, Tim, that mental health, brain health is really important to me. And so maybe in your repeat visit, we could do maybe a little bit of talking about, or we could do a little bit of research together of how we can help people with mental illness overcome. Because if your brain isn't working properly, how are they going to be able to get into meditation and really take control of their life? Mind control. How do you teach mind control to someone who is hallucinating? And, there's more growing understanding that maybe these things like personality disorders and schizophrenia are not just gut health related, but also maybe they're in this different conscious state. They don't know how to control yet. So,
well, I believe that everyone can use the Mastermind cleanse.
Yeah,
and that takes care of 95% of the problems. Now, there's in quantum, the Quantum Soul Mind Cleanse, there's aspects of it that I ask about. Soul fractures, because in many cases when people have deep trauma, deep abuse, their soul fractures. And here's the goosebumps. And So we find out if that's happening. I typically ask how many fractures there are, and then I go into my internal process and bring it together and heal it.
So the soul fractures, like literally gets cracks in it
Right.
from trauma, from
Yes.
an earthly experience or whatever.
And it could be from past lives or previous lives, but it doesn't matter. You know, it's if they're there, then they can be healed.
And the soul, as you define it, is what?
Well, you are a soul.
So like your energy signature
Yes.
gets fractured. So there's like a soul wound that's
Yeah.
forever.
I mean, you can. You know, I don't pretend to know all of it.
Sure.
You know, I ask the question, find out what the challenge is, and then fix it.
Okay.
Basically.
I was just curious about,
right.
you know, to help people differentiate between, you know, their emotional body, their soul body, their mental body.
Well, and I would say most of your clients are the people watching this. I would imagine the people watching that, you know that you're a soul, okay? So they have a sense of they are a soul, but we've been trained and programmed that we have a soul and that we're a mind and a body. And there's some yogis that are teaching, one in particular that I won't mention, but his mantra for his students is, I am not my body, I am not my mind. Now, part of the training that I know of is that the word not, N-O-T, has no meaning to the subconscious and unconscious because the mind thinks in pictures, okay? So if he's having them say, I'm not my body, I'm not my mind, what are you putting into the unconscious, subconscious?
I am my body, I am my mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, and
that's not helpful.
No, it's exact opposite of what he's trying to get through these students who don't know.
Right.
You know, and I didn't mention that I went to India and Egypt and studied under 5 yogic masters and went through 5 Tibetan empowerments, 2 with the Dalai Lama.
Oh my God.
And more.
Wow.
Studied Egyptian mysticism, Tibetan mysticism, Raja Yoga, which encompasses all of the yogas.
Wow.
Not just Hatha Yoga is the only one that we know here, but there's like 6 different yogas. Raja Yoga is in regards to mind development, mental development.
Yes. So funny because going to Tibet for I went through a major spiritual awakening, but I know there will be another level that I will unlock when I really want to come into a much, much higher version of myself. Tibet is on that list. Mm-hmm. So I'll have to call you up when it's like, Tim, I'm ready. Where do I go to unlock my next spiritual
well, one of
endeavor.
The things that enlightened seekers find is that they don't need to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Wherever you go, you are there.
Right.
So if you're there in a negative way, if you're negative here, if you go someplace else, you're going to be negative there.
Yeah.
So it's getting rid of all of that debris within your soul consciousness and current life consciousness that I believe is most important.
Yeah.
And when you do that, then your spirit can go, what do you want to do?
Yeah, wherever you are.
Right.
It's amazing.
Exactly.
Love it. Exactly. Oh, what a great way to end the show. Oh my goodness. Look, I got so excited here. I rattled my microphone. Tim Zimmerman, thank you so much for being here. This is amazing. We will have you back for sure. We'll dive in deeper.
Okay.
Right?
I hope all of that made sense. If it doesn't make sense, call me.
That's right. All right, guys. Until next time.